Magandang araw mga kaibigan, nagbabalik na naman tayo sa panibagong video ito. Mensahe ni Senator Drilon kay Sec. Duque, mag-resign ka na. Bago natin ituloy ang balita, siguraduhin i-like ang ating video at mag-comment na. Samantala kung hindi ka pa nakakapag-subscribe, siguraduhin mo na mag-subscribe para sa mga may init at sariwang balita araw-araw. Matindi ako sa mga naloob ni Senator Franklin Drilon kay DOH Secretary Duque matapos sabihin ng mga pagkakamaling ginawa ang kalihim na kagawaran ng pangkalusugan na si Secretary Duque. Sang-ayon ba kayo sa sinabi ni Senator Drilon na mag-resign na si Duque? Comment nyo sa baba at aming pag-usapan. Panoorin ang video para sa buong detalye.
In filing proposed Senate Resolution 362. I did not sign this resolution, Mr. President, even if I am in the opposition, because I wanted to give Secretary Duque a chance. I wanted to see him perform. Sadly, Mr. President, on the basis of what we have seen in our hearings for the last 3 days, the performance of Mr. Duque did not justify my non-signing, sad to say. The poor health management has resulted in the longest lockout in the world. And unfortunately, our Secretary of Justice has failed to manage this pandemic and its curve. To date, we have so far infected 164,000 of our people, killed over 2,600, made over 7 million of our workers jobless, or an unemployment rate of 17.7%, and caused over 5 millions of our families to go hungry. This is how serious we are. This is how the extent of the suffering of our people today. The do not panic approach of Mr. Duque, his lack of urgency, has led this country down a road paved with literal deaths of our citizens, and Mr. President, that is not acceptable. The failure of to manage the health system has resulted in a greater burden upon Philhealth. As Mr. John Neri has said, when the health secretary, lacking credibility even in administration circles, spends official time handing out washable face masks, acting like a candidate for office instead of the country's top health officials in the middle of a health emergency, then we really have a problem. So the question that I would like to ask later, and probably the good Secretary of Health can start thinking about, will the Secretary heed the call of 14 senators in PS Resolution 362? When asked to justify the unbelievable speed by which Philhealth approved and downloaded the IRM or the interim reimbursement mechanism, President and General Manager General Ricardo Morales on August 11 hearing said, quote, "As a background, in January 2020, we were in a state of anxiety because we knew that COVID was coming. We knew how it hit the other countries, and so we were in a state of panic. So we wanted to be preemptive, to take preemptive measures to be able to prepare our hospitals to respond to this pandemic, which we did not know at that time how soon, how hard, and how long it was going to hit us. Ang intention ho ng PhilHealth ay maunahan po yung COVID. Yung tama ho ng pandemic. Yun po. Really, Mr. President, because as far as I can remember, our very own Health Secretary, Francisco Duque, who chairs the PhilHealth Board, did not share the same sense of panic expressed by President Ricardo Morales. By the end of January 2020, when we were already over 6,000 COVID-19 cases in China, the health secretary was still reluctant to recommend the ban of Chinese nationals from entering the country, citing, quote, serious political and diplomatic repercussions. Quote, if we do this, then the concerned country, China in this case, might question why we are not doing the same for other countries that have reported confirmed cases of the coronavirus. He said then casually, it is one of the possible options, but not at this moment. This was even after the local quarantine authorities stopped 5 Chinese tourists with fever level body temperatures within our borders in Cebu and Qualibo. No, Mr. President, we do not think that the chairman of the World Secretary, Duque, shared the same anxiety with Mr. Morales in January 2020 because as late as March 6, 2020, the Secretary of Health was still advising the general public not to wear face masks. To quote him, ulitin ko po, pagka walang namang may sakit, hindi kailangan mag-face mask. I do not think Mr. Duque was already in a state of anxiety on March 9 when he thumbed down a lockdown proposal to contain community transmission of the disease. He deemed it best, quote, to wait until there is evidence of sustained community transmission to trigger a community lockdown or a community quarantine. To quote the Philippine Star journalist, there is no need for undue panic, Duque assured us in his latest health scare. We wish, I made a statement because I want the Secretary of Health, for the first time attending this hearing, to explain to us all of these steps and mismanagement that we are looking at today. Thank you very much, Mr. President.
Thank you, Minority Leader, Senator Drilon. Again, solicited advice to our resource persons. Perhaps we're not sure whether we will have one more hearing or this would be a wind-up later on. This is your last chance. To those evading, lying, this is your last chance to clear yourself. Because as I mentioned before, the best thing about telling the truth is you don't have to remember what you said. Let us now begin with the discussions and give the floor to our guests for their presentations. There are 2 who will make presentations. Kindly limit your presentations to 5 minutes in order to maximize our time. Secretary Francisco Duque of the Department of Health. Oh, incidentally, in the 4th or 5th line of the Minority Leader, just to correct the journal, he was pertaining to the Secretary of Health, not the Secretary of Justice. Secretary Duque will present, and